through our eyes. I think the presence of the data collector camera may influence the observed situation phenomena calculated, but what I was explaining is here, when you come in, or even if you put there a CCTV camera and someone sees it, he will behave differently. Yet, if you used interviews or read this, change the scenario that you want to study. There are ethical issues that may arise regarding confidentiality. We are told that you must respect people's privacy, you must be ethical, you must get their consent, you must give their privacy. But when you're going to observe, of course, you're not going to, you're doing research on how couples behave in their bedroom at night. You cannot come and start to research. You know, people's bedroom and start watching. You know, you cannot do that. That cannot escalate. for the problem. If you probing is in-depth analysis or questioning and gathering information that is in-depth, we may say to go on strike, someone might simply say, but I mean, partial. And then in a questionnaire, you will be finished because you answer the questionnaire and simply put their partial and give back the questionnaire to you, partial and beans. But in an interview, you'll go ahead and ask, what about partial and beans? Then you'll go and tell you probe. Say, no, partial and beans, that is not well cooked and maybe it's stale and, served late. And then, okay, say, and then you ask if it is served in time and it's good. They say, no, that one we can go on without strikes. The more advantage is that interviews can be used for collecting data from both literate and illiterate people, as long as you can talk their language, unlike a questionnaire which is written in specific language. And into the village you don't know, in Karamoja, you're from Kabale, and still gather the information through an interpreter or speak their language. Unlike a questionnaire which you just send, and it's in a specific language, usually in English, and if they don't understand the question, then that's it, you're gone. It gives an opportunity for clarifying the questions. This is what I've just been talking about. If they pose a question which is not clear to a respondent, they'll ask you, can you please make it clear? You'll even see from their body language that they don't seem to have understood this. Then you restate it using different words. It's good for exploring issues and in-depth investigations or analysis. When you have issues that are not on the surface, that are not really provided through questionnaires, information that needs in-depth analysis or investigation, interviews are the most appropriate. That is the probing bit we're talking about. They are suitable for surveys where you go out in the field, especially case studies. You go out in the field, you want to gather data in-person primary data, then that's the interviews are very good. The disadvantage with interviews include being costly in monetary and other terms. It costs you the time you have to. Sometimes you have even to pay for settle down, and then you start the report. It's very time consuming and very tedious. Compared to other methods like questionnaires and the observation, it does not. The interaction between the interviewer and the respondent sometimes is a source of both interview and respond errors and biases, depending on how you perceive each other. If you can come as an intimidator to the information provider. He looks at you as very scary. You are here putting on ties and looking very posh from Makerere University. You're asking him to explain how much poverty bites him. This person is going to look at you and even doesn't. Figures out, how do I make this person understand what it's like to be poor. He looks like it's from well-to-do family. So that is like a bias from the respondent, but also you make somewhere you want to study somebody, changes your attitude to a level that compromises the quality of data you collect. It does not allow the respondents to check records, because this is an interview which you've arranged for about 20 minutes or 30. So whatever they want to answer questions quickly without even checking the facts and figures, they say, let me go and consult my diet. But interviews are at times often conducted in conditions that are not really favorable. They are conducting an interview from the street. There's dust, there's noise, the person is feeling hot, uncomfortable. You want to write the interview and go away from that situation. There's less or no anonymity of respondents. Now, in ethics, we are told that, the provider of an information or of any information may be kept anonymous as a well-being. They're providing rules and regulations or rules of interviews are too rigid. You know, and like women don't want to tell about their age. No, please keep the slide. Let's keep all the mics muted. Okay, let's keep our mics muted. And saying the invasion or interruption of people's privacy. When you're conducting interviews, you cannot observe this ethical with their privacy. You go to their premises. You even if it's, you have to reach out to people and get to meet them and see let lecturers know. It cannot change the sequence of questions. The way you state the questions is the order, same order like interviews. The questions are posed in a particular order. It cannot confirm or highlight who actually answered the questionnaire. You don't know where you're getting this information from, because I may give it to me and I give it to my secretary or somebody else, just say, fill that question and give it. Yet you wanted it to be filled by a lecturer, but this lecturer happens to be busy, gives it to somebody, his driver, and the driver will give you the answers and you take it. You don't know that you actually got, your sample will have changed. Now, a focus group discussion, as I told you, this is a discussion of people who are knowledgeable. We usually encourage these focus groups to be have 8 to 12 people who are similar. I mean, they are homogeneous. They have common experiences about what you are researching about. And the focus group discussion does not have to exceed 2 hours. You may record the discussion and transcribe, but it all works about, you know, you have to moderate members to talk about the topic you want. You want to know the effect of posho on students' performance. You pick out good posho eaters, sit them down, and now tell them, start telling me, I want to hear you talk about the effect of posho in the afternoon, I mean, on in your class performance. And as they talk, of course, you're picking. The advantages of this is that the presence of several respondents at the same time provides a certain synergy. One will say, you know, posho makes me feel fatigued, especially in the afternoon. Then they say, also this. And then synergy is where you add 1 to 1 and get 4 or 5 instead of 2. Someone will complement the facts that they're giving you. Says, posho just makes me go crazy. The other one said, no way, you are telling a lie. Posho only makes you sleepy, and now don't pull our legs. So that at the end of the day, unlike an interview, if you met only one person, he can tell you anything on their own, they're standing alone. But here, these are 12 people. If one says, comfort level of participants. Yeah, there are some communities or areas where we go for information and people are intimidated. I've been to Karamoja. If any of you comes from Karamoja, you'll agree with me. When you meet Karamajongs, they usually pick one person to talk. Okay, let me leave tribes because it may be sensitive. But let's deal with soldiers. I've taught soldiers in class. They don't talk easily. I mean, this is a disadvantage I would bring it. Okay, let me give an example. If you went to a village and you are doing research, you are there in your suits and whatever, your files, and you meet one individual, he may have some inferiority complex. But if you meet them as groups, they will tend to talk easily. Let me put it that simply. I don't want to use. The demerits of that is easy for researchers to misinterpret the results. You remember, this is a discussion. You may fail to, a discussion is like a contestation, it's like a competition, who wins the year. So they may reach a stalemate where they are not agreeing, and it will leave you even more confused about what you want to research on. A focus group discussion cannot deliver final or conclusive or absolute results. Facts. And then, so it doesn't give correct, straight answers. It calls for extra expertise of the moderator. You may collect 10 young boys to talk about posho. They end up talking about football, politics, or whatever it is. So you need to keep you. Of course, you have to be soft with them. Don't have to be hard on them. They're volunteering. It's time consuming. You have to organize expert or well-trained moderators it can be difficult to elicit participation from individuals who have time constraints. Someone wants to go in discussion, they may not be there for you. It may involve high financial, monetary, and other costs. When you hold this, you are going to get a nice venue, provide refreshments, no, even a bursa for transport. A bursa is an envelope for those who. Scarcity of good professionals to do this is very high. Not so many of us are good moderate. Focus. As we know, group dynamics. Some people are extroverts, while others are introverts. Others are too talkative, while if in your group discussion you have people who can shout, how to speak the others, then you'll not get a balanced observation, rather balanced results. Multiple participants can also make documentation of information difficult. This one is saying that, the other one is saying that, which is why you limit it 12 people about these gadgets, these tools, and the methods. Each of them has got a disadvantage and an advantage. Now, let's ask ourselves as we end, how do you go in the field? You don't meet the field, go in the field anyhow. You have to plan data collection choice. You have to develop, look at your objectives. They will prepare this with a view of addressing your research gap, your research problem. You need to you test them, conduct interviews, then you test the instruments, the data collection tools or instruments. Do a pilot analysis, see whether questions are being responded to as you need. Then that's when you go to the field. And when you collect the data, you have to manage it and then report. So it's a process that has to be deliberately approached. You don't just plan, wake up, then enable you to collect your, address your research problem. So in conclusion, we've seen there's many types of data, so many types of collecting data, and so many data tools. How to choose what is appropriate for your research will depend on the research, on the nature of research activity or research design. How have you designed your research? What does it time and money and conduct an interview, focus group discussion? Then not all of us are experts at every stage. We may be even observing itself, we are not expert, well trained. If you want to give a you can check it. This is slide number 84, meaning I've skipped so many slides which tell you how you need to prepare yourself for each of these processes, what you need to go through. Then you may not have time. It depends also on the time available. Some data require a lot of time, like a focus group discussion or an interview. You have to give each key respondent maybe some days. Or you're collecting data through questionnaires, then they're tossing you around. You need to be patient. And I said research goes through stages. At the infancy stage, you may require different type of data from the later stage. So that is it, gentlemen and ladies. If you have questions, issues, or concerns, raise them. That brings us to the end of the topic. If you have questions, issues, concerns, objections, everything, you Raise your hand. Yes. You who has their hand and we are concerns, objections. Okay.